Yo, what's cracking, Foodie Nation? Yo, it's your boy Chef Kurt. Listen, I'm so excited to cook with y'all today. We in the new crib, you know what I'm saying? Look at that, you know what I'm saying? Look at everything, looking brand new, looking fresh, you know what I'm saying? Boy, what? Yes, sir, we in the brand new crib. This is gonna be the home base. Get familiar with this, because I'm so excited to be able to bring y'all some consistency. This is home. All the videos will be shot here. It's just such a good feeling. So let's get into what we got going on today. Again, the first official video in this house. And I wanted to do something fun, something quick, something that everybody can get with. I feel like this particular ingredient that we're using today is not the most popular, and just because it got a bad rap. So I'm gonna show y'all how to get it done today, how to work it out. Let me show you what we're doing today. We making some Brussels sprouts. Yes, sir, we got some Brussels sprouts, baby. So today, I'm gonna show you how to do an oven roasted Brussels sprouts. And we're gonna finish that off with a nice, sweet, spicy, and savory bacon jam. All right, let's get into it. So as you guys see, we have our Brussels sprouts here. These are already cut in half. So the stores, most stores are gonna sell them either whole or already split in half for you. All you have to do is take the bottom part off, take some of the excess root off of it, cut them in half. If you see a little bit of blemish, dirt, soil, anything like that, just peel back a couple layers, don't throw away the whole thing. Also, when they sell them halved, which it was kind of like that in here, sometimes they're gonna be a little dark. A little bit of gray, a little bit of tintish, and all that is, guys, is the oxidation. So the oxidation is not bad. It's just what happens when oxygen gets to food. Same with ground beef or red meat. When it starts to turn brown, it's not that it's so much bad. It's just when you leave it out, the oxygen has a chemical reaction and it starts to change the color. All right, so again, all you gotta do is shave that part off. It's still good. So we're gonna get right into this. So oven roasted, it's really simple. We're gonna drizzle some oil over them. And of course you can use whatever oil you like. If you got that EVOO extra virgin, coconut, whatever you like to cook with, use that. It's not oil specific. We're going to, of course, hit it with some kosher salt. I do not usually use iodized salt unless I'm in a pinch. You'll always see chefs use kosher salt. It's just a better salt, better flavor. Sea salt, coarse sea salt works well in this case. And then y'all already know what time it is. We ain't hitting it with nothing else, nothing other than that Chef Kurt. Yes, sir. Seasoning, boy. You heard me? Yes, sir. All the flavor you need. It's simplistic. If you ain't using this yet, you're playing yourself, because it's easy. It goes on everything. I'm going to sell it later. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You heard me? And it's salt free. So I always season what I'm using with salt first, so that I can keep an eye and monitor the amount of salt that I'm putting on. But with it being salt free, this is great for everything. It just, if you don't have any dietary restrictions, it doesn't mean that you don't need this seasoning. I promise you need this seasoning. But it also makes it perfect for people who might be struggling with hypertension, high blood pressure, diabetes, cholesterol, any of those things. This seasoning, this Yes Sir seasoning, is going to be great to give you flavor without the sodium that most seasonings are going to have, right? Because you can still eat good, you can still feel good, your food can still taste good. I call it 3G. I call it the 3G effect. Eat good, taste good, feel good. You know what I'm saying? With that Yes Sir Chef Kurt seasoning. All right. So season it moderately. We got a saying in the culture where we say, we season until the ancestors tell us to stop. You know what I'm saying? And all that mean is sometimes your food just be a little too lightly seasoned. Like, what you scared for? Especially when you're using my seasoning, it's the more you shake, it's not getting any saltier. That's the problem with a lot of seasonings that are on the market is you can shake it and you shake it and you shake it like a salt shaker. You heard me? And then by the time you think it's good, you over seasoned it and now you ruined it because you are using a seasoning that is laced with salt. If you look at your favorite seasoning right now, I promise you 9 times out of 10, it's gonna say the first ingredient or the second ingredient is gonna be salt. So you always want to monitor that. And that's why I just made sure to commit to, when I was developing this seasoning, just to make sure that it was salt free, because I wanted to give people, again, whether you have dietary restrictions or not, I wanted to give people the option to eat good and monitor their health and not have to worry about killing themselves eating good. You heard me? All right, so I have my oven preheating on about 375. You heard me? So we're gonna go ahead and get these in the oven. We'll start them off for about 15 minutes or so, and then we're gonna flip them over. I started them out with the flat side down. That way they can get some color on the back, crisp up really nicely. And then, like I said, about halfway through the cooking process, we're gonna flip them over. That way the top can get some coloration. They can cook evenly. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get these into the oven at 375. All right, so while the Brussels sprouts are in the oven, what we're gonna do is go ahead and start working on the bacon jam. We're gonna get all of our knife work out of the way, and then we're gonna get to cooking, okay? And what this process is called, whenever you do all of your knife work and you measure, if you're following a recipe, you measure out all your ingredients and you just kind of put them in a cup to the side. The technical term for that in French is called mise en place, okay? And what mise en place means is it's translated to everything in its place. So you'll notice that once you start mise en placing before you cook, you'll notice that your cook time is going to go down. Yeah, you did dedicate time before you started cooking to, again, getting everything in its place. But what mise en place does is once you start cooking, you're not having to stop and start because you're running around the kitchen like, oh, I didn't get this. Oh. When you mise en place, you'll be able to start cooking and finish cooking, okay? You won't have to continue to stop and start and do this and then do that. And you'll just be able to follow through. And like I said, that's going to save you time. And you'll notice that, wow, I'm cooking a little quicker than I normally cook. All right. So for this particular preparation, we're going to do like a medium large dice. And don't worry, guys, I'm going to show you all my knife skills. All right. Show you how to get it done. So whenever I'm preparing to do a dice, what I like to do is pre-mark where I want how big I want it to be. So I'm going for, like I said, medium dice. Don't get me lying, like, oh, 1/4 inch. I don't know. That wasn't my subject in school. So I'm going to show you, but I can tell you. We're going to cut it right there. I'm probably going to get either 4 to 5 sections out of this. So it's looking like 4. And I'm going to take this back root part as well. That makes 5. Then we're going to turn it. As you see, as I'm cutting, you want to keep it all together. And as I come back down to go the opposite way, always implementing the bear claw. Going to bear claw it and just take it down the next way, right? The opposite way. Once I get here, I flip it down just because I like things to be stable as I'm cutting them. If it's unstable, that's how you start cutting yourself. Take your time, slow down, make sure that your cutting board is stable and that your grip on the food that you're cutting is stable. All right. So we have our medium diced onion. You can't have bacon jam without a little bacon. All right. So here I just have some bacon. I'm just going to get this bacon laid out. Kind of had it bundled up in that Ziploc bag. And just gonna do about 4 to 5 strips a piece. So it is, if you don't have a great knife, it's gonna be harder for you to cut this. I would say a tip that I've learned when cutting bacon, if you put it in the freezer for about 15-20 minutes before you know you need it, you don't want it to be frozen. You want it to be cold enough to where it's on the way to being frozen, but still to where you can pull it apart, use it, that you can maneuver it. And it's gonna be just the same as if you were cutting an onion. Slide through really easy, real quick and easy. So that's a tip for cutting bacon. If you don't have the best of knives, I don't always use the best of knives either. So it's always best to just have the best cutting techniques that you can have, because sometimes you won't have access to your knife, right? So that's just a tip. But I will start to, as we continue on this journey, on this chef journey, I will definitely begin dropping different items. I'm guessing in the description for if you guys need a knife or, this beautiful cutting board that I do get a discount from, if any of you guys are wanting, just different products that I use within this cooking show, I will begin to drop those into the description bar. All right. So now we're just gonna Take our bacon. I'm making them, again, like a medium large size because I want to, when I bite into it, when I'm eating the Brussels, I want to have nice chunks of bacon as I'm biting into it. I want it to be nice and meaty. And another trick with bacon, if you don't know, always cook more than you need because it's gonna get snacked on. It's gonna get ate on. You heard me? It's always gonna be at least a piece or a strip or two missing. All right. So now that we have our bacon nice and chopped up, we're gonna go ahead and get this in a pan and get it rendering. All right. So we just want to go ahead and put our bacon into our pan, and we're gonna get this on the stove at about a medium low heat because you don't want to cook it too much and too fast. You really want to get all that fat out of there. We'll be right back. And we're back. Okay, so we have our stove here set up. We got our eye set up. So we're just gonna go ahead and turn it on about, like I said, about a medium heat, right? And get this bacon rendering down. And what you can always do is add just a pinch of oil, even though we're doing this to get the oil out of it. When you have a little bit in the pan, it does help expedite the process. You hear that bad boy starting to cook, starting to sizzle? Yes, sir. I'm telling you, like, bacon is one of those things. It's just like nothing better than cooking bacon. The sound, the sizzle, not so much the pop, because the pop be like, ah! But the sound, the sizzle, the smell, it's one of those things that entice you, like, and make you want to eat it. So love cooking bacon. If you don't eat bacon, you can still do this recipe, even though bacon is one of the main components. There are things, and I'll teach you guys with another recipe how to still make good Brussels sprouts that aren't bacon, that aren't porked up. I personally sell mine when I pop up and sell or I do catering and stuff like that. I personally make or serve my Brussels sprouts without bacon because I like to appeal to the larger demographic. So, the way I do it is with the honey jerk sauce, my signature honey jerk sauce. So again, on another recipe, we're going to show you guys how to do that without the pork. But today, we eating swine. Sorry, love you. All right. So as the pan starts to get hot, just want to make sure that everything is evened out. All pieces are touching cooking surface. And again, this process is called rendering. And you might ask, well, chef, what's the difference between cooking the bacon and rendering the bacon? Not much difference. I would say, I think the reason why we say rendering in kitchens is because if I tell you to render the bacon, or if I told you to render a piece of beef fat or something like that, I want you to specifically cook it with the intent of reserving the fat. Because a lot of times, if we cook this bacon, depending on how you grow up and what house you grow up in, after you cook this bacon, somebody might throw it away. Others of us that's from the South, you know what I'm saying? You heard me, from the South Carolina, 803, you heard me? That's my people. But you know what I'm saying? We'll put that thing in a Crisco jar, in a glass. A lot of people put it in that doggone margarine butter container, and we save it because, again, in the South, we call that liquid gold. So in a lot of preparations where some people would use butter or oil to start cooking, we'll use that leftover and reserved bacon fat because it's going to add so much smoky flavor to whatever we're cooking it in, okay? So I would say the difference in rendering is to cook down what you're cooking down with the intent of reserving that fat. To make sure that, hey, don't toss that. We want that delicious fat, aka liquid gold. All right, got my handy dandy chef tweezers. I know some of y'all be looking at us on Food Network and whatnot, be like, what are those for? Well, a lot of times when I do my caterings or my private dinner, you'll see us wearing it on our jacket. And it's literally for situations like this. Whether we're having to do some real nice plating and you want to be real particular with, instead of me trying to sprinkle something, what if I want to put something in a specific place, right? So that's what we use the tweezers for. Situations like this where I just kind of wanted to have a little bit more control. Tongs are just going to be a little bit too big. So yeah, chef tweezers are not, I wouldn't say an essential kitchen tool, but if you are a professional chef, this is what you do. This is your craft. I would definitely suggest you making sure you have a pair of chef tweezers. I think that's our timer, so we're going to check this oven real quick. All right, first timer has gone off. Let's see how these nuggets are looking. Not too bad. I'm putting the tweezers through it and can tell that they're cooking pretty well. I'm going to actually put them in for another about 10 minutes or so. A part of, again, when we talked about mise en place. So as I was cooking this, I'm like, you know what? I can start pulling out some of these pieces that are cooked. So what I would say a part of mise en place for this is going to be thinking as far as, okay, I need to have my catching receptacle for my bacon. So a bit of paper towel just to soak up the excess. But as you guys can see, this bacon is starting to render off very nicely. You're getting the majority of it is cooked. So I'm just going to turn it down a little bit. So that all of it can really finish cooking. And man, well, I was telling y'all earlier, this smells so doggone good. It just automatically makes me want some eggs, some grits. Oh. Okay. If you want attention, just say that. But yeah, it automatically puts me in the mood to want some eggs, some grits, some pancakes. Man, ain't nothing like breakfast time, right? So as y'all see, it looks like all of our bacon has been completely cooked and rendered. Remember how much fat or oil we put in there to begin with? It didn't amount to that. So that's all the fat that we're going to yield from rendering our bacon, right? And this is a good technique whenever you're trying to scoop out something and you don't want the fat. So we're going to tilt our pan that way to keep the oil dripping towards the top, bottom, whichever direction this is to you, to the other side of the pan as we scoop out this delicious bacon. Delicious bacon. Okay. This piece that tried to jump ship. Nah, son. Get over here. All right. So we have this beautiful rendered bacon. Show you guys beautiful rendered bacon. So we're going to set that aside. As you see, we're getting to a smoke point. So I'm going to turn my grease down. And then we're going to go ahead and add in those medium diced onions. And I'm telling you, like, the best part of cooking, it's just nothing like cooking. This is what I'm trying to say. There's nothing like cooking because for me, you get to use so many of your senses. The sound, like I just love hearing when I put something into a pan, and always a hot pan. Like I have to get on my chefs all the time when we're working. And I'm like, you never put anything into a cold pan. You always want to start off in a hot pan. Not just because I want to hear that sizzle, but because it's necessary. You get a better cook. You get a better sear. A lot of pans aren't non-stick unless the pan is screaming hot. You have some oil in there. And then when you put it in there, that's what makes it non-stick. When you put stuff into meats, being more specific, when you're searing meats, but you put it into a cold pan, it automatically sticks to the pan because as the pan warms up, it's warming up what's on it. So you always want to start your stuff in a hot pan. What we call is how you know when it's ready. What the technical term is smoking point. So before I put the onions in there, you saw it started to not just the heat, but you started to see literal smoke. That is what we call the smoking point, and that is the point as to when you know. Wait, did I? There we go. I was about to say something was. I was losing my again. Listening to my senses, I was like, I'm losing my sizzle. Where'd my sizzle, my crackle, my pop go? So should be good now. But yeah, you'll always know when to add things to your pan because of the smoke point. All right. So we're just going to allow this to continue to come back up to a cooking simmer. We want to kind of saute, but we're looking for more of, honestly, a caramelized onion, because we want that. When you caramelize onions, again, it literally brings the sugars out of the food. And that's why they begin to turn brown and stuff like that. That's you cooking the sugars that are naturally in the food out of it. So while these are cooking down, I'm just going to go grab a few more of the ingredients that we're going to need for this bacon jam. I'll be right back. All right, y'all, we back. Just making sure the bacon was good. I told you always got to cook extra. See how our Brussels sprouts got about 60 seconds on them, so they'll be coming out here in a second. We're gonna give those a flip. Child, I ain't gonna lie to you. I told y'all this is my first day. I'm just like, dang, I ain't got no towels. You about to use these paper towels to get this thing on the oven. Lord, don't let me get burnt. Jesus. But you know what I'm saying? Gotta do what you gotta do. All right, we'll put that under there so I don't mess up my counter. Got tweezers. Close your oven, because like Ryan say, why you letting all the oven out? I mean, why you letting all the heat out? So we're just gonna give these all a quick flip. And as you see, they're already starting to develop some color. Let me give a little sample. Just gonna give these all a quick flip, just so that we can get even more color on them. But you know, the reddish color is definitely coming from my seasoning. Paprika is one of the main ingredients in my seasoning, so it's always going to give whatever you're cooking a nice tint to it. Keep an eye on my onions. Onions could take about a good 10 minutes to caramelize. So it's perfect how we did this, which is always how you have to think whenever you're cooking. You always want to make sure that you're being mindful of cook times. So let me get these back in the oven, and I'll let you know more what I'm saying there. But these look beautiful so far, right? So more than another 10, 15 minutes in the oven and those will be done. We'll do 15 just to be safe. Like I said, I like a little char on mine. Turn a little brown. They're also picking up that leftover bacon bits that was in the grease. So what I was alluding to earlier was, whenever you're cooking, you always want to prioritize cook times. So I knew that while these onions and the caramelizing the onion is going to take 10 to 15 minutes, the completion of the jam itself is going to be about 20, 25 minutes. But the Brussels sprouts were also going to take 25, maybe 30 minutes, just depending on the temperature of the oven, right? You always want to prioritize what can be cooking or what you can be doing while you're doing something else. As a chef, you're going to have to multitask. It is one of the things I'm most proud about, being able to multitask, being able to do 3, 4, sometimes 5 things at one time. And that comes from understanding the priority of cook times. So as you saw, we got the Brussels sprouts done in the oven. And while those have been in the oven, we've been able to chop onions, chop bacon, render bacon. Now we're caramelizing onions. So imagine if you started doing all this and then you're like, oh, well, let me cook the Brussels sprouts now. Now this is going to be ready and you're waiting on that. So always just make sure that you're prioritizing. I think the most relevant thing, and we'll use bacon and we'll use breakfast as an example since we're cooking bacon. a lot of people, like they say, like I've seen it on social media, I know if you're a real chef depending on when you cook the eggs. So if we got pancakes, grits, eggs, sausage, bacon, toast, I'm gonna look at you a little weird if you cooking the eggs first, because eggs are only gonna take a couple minutes, and while they're sitting there, they're getting cold. They're just, the integrity of them is not as good as if you cook your bacon, your sausage, your grits, your pancakes. You cook everything else, and then you wait until cook the eggs at the last minute. I'm gonna be like, they know what they're doing. So always just be mindful of your cook times and plan out your meals. Mise en place is very important. Sitting down and understanding what you need to do, the mission that you're trying to accomplish, and getting that done. All right. So these onions are starting to look and smell delicious. You know what I'm saying? I don't know why I said it like that. I was like, gorilla, 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 gorilla. Yeah. If you're a 90s baby, you get it. All right. So before these start to turn any resemblance of black, I'm going to turn this down, and we're going to begin to build our bacon jam. All right. So the first thing I'm going to add into here is going to be some brown sugar. And we're going to add, let me not lie to you, let me add it, and then I'm going to tell you about how much it is. We're going to add about 2 cups of brown sugar. Okay? Because again, this is a jam. So you're going to want that sweet aspect, okay? And we're using brown sugar to bring that sweetness. Making sure we still got some heat there. So we're just going to mix this in. All right. Next, we're going to add some maple syrup. Because what's bacon without a little maple? And we're going to do about quarter to half a cup of maple syrup. We want a little bit of heat with our sweet. So next we're going to add, to your desire, the amount of chili flakes. I'm going to add about 2 teaspoons because I don't want a lot of heat, but I do want a little bit of, little, you know what I'm saying? All right. Next to that, we also want a splash of acidity. So we're going to throw in some of this apple cider vinegar, just a splash or 2. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3. I'm feeling good. 4 splashes of that. All right. And then we're going to get everything nice and mixed and incorporated in. If y'all can smell all of the flavors that are coming together right now, my God. Yes, Lord. All right. So as you see, it's a nice consistency. It's a little loose. So what we're going to do is let this come back up to a boil. We're going to let it simmer. But first, we're going to go ahead and add our flavor in there, right? Even though we got a lot of flavor, you know, all-purpose seasoning is always going to help full body round out your flavors. So, you know, I never know how much of this I'm putting in there. Maybe about 2 or 3 teaspoons or tablespoons. Even though, yes, bacon can be salty, you always still want to have salt. Salt is a flavor enhancer. So it's only going to enhance the flavor that's there. And it's always best to add a little bit, and then you can put more in later. But if you add too much, you can't take it out. So we're just going to add just a little bit. If we need some more later, we'll put it back in. So as you see, almost immediately in the center of the pan where it starts to bubble up, that's what we're looking for. We're getting that good old syrupy, jammy situation, right? All right. So this is what we're looking for, just for it to begin to be bubbly across the whole top and start to reduce down. I'm just going to give it a quick sample. Y'all, Jesus! Yo, this is good. But now that I've tasted it, I know what I need to add. I want it to be a little sweeter. I'm pretty much going to add a little bit more of everything. Just to bump up the flavor. I taste the sweet, it's a little sweet. I taste the acidity, it's a little acidic. And again, what's going to help enhance it is salt. It's not going to make it too salty. What's in my shot? It's not going to make it too salty, but it is going to enhance the flavors that are there. All right. So again, starting off slow, I'm going to add, that was probably about 2, maybe 3, 4, 5 tablespoons of salt, right? Get this all mixed in. I'm going to do a little bit of maple syrup again just to well round it out. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Boy, this is, I cannot wait to get into this. So I wish I had some rosemary over at my other kitchen. That would have made this, that would have literally taken this just to the next level of just bodying it out with a nice, or grounding it with a nice herbaceous. I do have herbs in my seasoning, so I get it a little bit. But man, I'm just thinking about if I would have brought some of that rosemary I had at the kitchen. So if you have some dried or fresh rosemary, throw you a little teaspoon in here, and you're gonna thank me later for it. All right, let's give this another try. Yo, that's it. That's it. That's it right there. So I'm gonna keep letting it cook down, letting them flavors develop. But y'all, I'm telling you, it's a banger. You heard me? And again, we're just gonna let this reduce. I'm gonna let it reduce for maybe about 5 more minutes. We're gonna add our bacon in there, mix it all up. Y'all, my mouth is wet. Mix it all up. Once the Brussels sprouts come out of the oven, we'll plate those up, toss it in this sweet, smoky, salty bacon jam, and we gonna eat. Yes, sir. We'll be right back. So, guys, we are back. This thing smells so doggone good. And you can just see the caramelized onions in there. All right, y'all. So last step, we're gonna add our rendered cooked bacon. Oh, I'm sorry. The aroma of them onions and that vinegar just caught me right in my eyes. My God. Give me a second. Jesus. Whew. I'm gonna push through. But if you see a tear dropping, don't come for me. I had to enjoy one more piece of that bacon while it's still nice and crispy, crunchy. So we're just gonna add our rendered bacon back into here. I'm just thinking of the many things that I'm actually gonna put this bacon jam on. Mm, 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 mm. This bacon jam is very versatile. And I mean, you could put it on top of some chicken. You could put it on top of some, you can mix, like I said, make an egg sandwich and put this on top of it. Some of y'all do like avocado toast, put this on top of it. It's just, think of it as a condiment, like any other condiment. But you know what I'm saying? This one is nice and homemade with caramelized onions, some nice hickory smoked bacon pieces. Y'all, this is delicious. All right. I think we're about to the point to where we can pull out these Brussels sprouts. And I'm just gonna run my tweezers through. It didn't fall, but I can tell that these are tender enough that I want them. I still want a little bit of bite to them. I don't like my veggies to be too soft, too mushy. Still want to make sure I have some type of nutritional value in there. So these are perfect. Like I said, I would have liked a little bit more of a roasted color, kind of like how this one was getting to. right there, but it's all right. It's all right. These are still going to be very delicious. All right, so now let's plate this up, all right? Man, delicious. You can still hear the crispiness on these things. From those outer leaves getting nice and crunchy. That's exactly what we wanted. I'm trying to get a little stack. It keep trying to fall down. I want to get a nice little stack on these. There we go. Work with me here. Work with me. All right. There we go. We're going to take this nice bacon jam and just drizzle that right on top of there. My God. My God, today. Somebody come look at this. Somebody come look at this. Sheesh. You just going. Ooh, that's the money shot right there. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Mouth getting wet. Boy, yeah. Man, oh, man. Y'all, this looks delicious. All right. So here is the accumulation of our hard work on today. Real quick and easy. We have here our maple bacon jam oven roasted Brussels sprouts. Yes, sir. All right. So now we're going to get these a taste. You know what I'm saying? Because we we tasted the individual, we tasted the Brussels sprouts. I know the Brussels sprouts taste good. The jam tastes good. Let's put it all together and see what we hitting for. All right. A nice piece of Brussels. Ooh, it's dripping. Some bacon. I'm trying to talk so I can cool it off because I ain't about to burn my tongue. All right, I mean, y'all just see the jam just dripping off them. Yes, sir. We gonna go in there. We gonna get it. Let's get it. Bruh. If you don't like Brussels, it's because you ain't tried this recipe yet. Like, hold on. The Brussels are cooked perfectly. They're seasoned perfectly. You don't have to do a lot. Make sure that you sauce them well, or else it's gonna taste like a ball of cabbage. And nobody wants a ball of bland cabbage. But when you salt this well, we salted it, we hit it with that yes which gave it its own personality and flavors from there. Then we drizzled it and we paired it with this sweet, salty, smoky, sour, bitter, flavorful bacon jam. And my God, this couldn't be any better. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this recipe, this demonstration. I will definitely be dropping the recipe for you guys, but I appreciate y'all staying tuned to this episode on Double ETV. Y'all know all we do here is flavor, food, good energy, high time. For the next recipe, y'all let me know what y'all want. Drop it in the comments. Follow me on Instagram. Don't forget that's Chef Kurt 100 on Instagram. That's Chef Kurt 100 on Facebook. You can follow my group there. If you're locally, you can see where I'm popping up and serving good, delicious food just like this. And if you just need catering or a private chef, hit my line, cookingwithchefkurt.com, where you can get this seasoning. I'll work on getting these recipes available, as well as merch, the apron, the shirts, things like that. But y'all tap in. I love y'all, Foodie Nation. We out until next time. Yes, sir.